Anarkali is pure fiction.
Yeah, right.
She never existed. There is no mention of such a person anywhere in history. In fact, people were sharpening their knives, when this thing came out,
Yeah.
thinking, here comes another glorification of the Mughals. It's not. And there's the head of ISRO
Yes.
saying that all these scientific discoveries are there in the Vedas. All these discoveries are attributed to the West falsely. Now, what can you say to a thing like that?
To a thing like that. Naseer Saab, welcome to Bollywood Hungama. Good to always see you.
Thank you, Rohit.
Right. Naseer Saab, जब पहला season आया, people watched the initial episodes. A lot of reactions I was reading last night on Twitter said, we didn't know these things. We didn't know this side of Akbar. Why do you think this side one was not shown to the people yet?
Because a lot of what is believed about Akbar is fiction. For example, Anarkali is pure fiction.
Yeah, right.
She never existed. There is no mention of such a person anywhere in history. But the fact is, he had some 900 concubines, like any other emperor. Mughal or non-Mughal, Hindu or Muslim, they all had hundreds of wives and concubines. And that is what exactly I found most interesting. His obsession with Anarkali and the fact that he's in love with her and therefore gets totally pissed off when he finds out that she's in love with his son.
Yes.
Now that is a dilemma which is difficult to resolve. And I found that terribly interesting. Plus the fact that it didn't only speak of the Mughals in glorifying terms. In fact, people were sharpening their knives, when this thing came out, thinking, here comes another glorification of the Mughals. It's not. It shows the Mughals as pretty barbarous,
right,
passionate, with huge libidos and very brutal at times, very indulgent.
Brutal. Yeah.
I mean, what did kings have to do here? And it's not just all whitewashing and showing Akbar as this very puritanical person, which he wasn't, in fact. So those are the aspects that appeal to me, and the conflict with his sons, which acquired dreadful dimensions.
Right.
Where the eldest son Salim, in fact, went to war against him.
Yes.
And this aspect of Anarkali and the fact that Akbar was an epileptic, which, like Julius Caesar, they have also included that. They have also included the torment that he went through over his son's, enmity, and added to the torment of the wives and the guilt that he felt about his earlier barbaric invasions into places.
Right.
There was a tremendous amount of regret at the end of his life.
Okay.
And that is what it, So the sharpened knives are lying around, waiting for some other opportunity.
So, but why do you think knives are always sharpened when it comes to showing something about Mughals or Akbar?
Because the Mughals are the only ones that the whole world knows about. Mughal has become an English word, an American word. Movie Mughal. And so running them down is very convenient for the present dispensation to paint all Muslims in one color. And to claim that they looted the country, they destroyed temples, they did this and they did that, and they had many wives. Every king does this. I mean, Alexander destroyed the whole of Iran on his rampages, but he's called Alexander the Great. In Iran, he's called Alexander with two horns. He's spoken of as the devil. He destroyed Persepolis. He destroyed all the treasures that were there of intellectual worth and of wealth and everything. Wiped out the Zoroastrian community because they had sided with the Iranian king. But these amazing stories of barbarism by Babar or by Humayun, who, poor guy, was an opium addict who fell down the steps when he was probably too stoned one day, and Akbar did this, and Aurangzeb, of
Yeah,
course, the biggest villain of them all. They don't talk of the other dynasties that were here before.
And all of them are violent also. Like every
Yeah.
history has been very violent.
Yeah,
When
it has been.
Yeah.
And in fact, even before the Mughal dynasty, there was several dynasties before them of the Turks.
In fact, yeah. In fact, do people even know the difference between those who came to just loot and those
who came to
stayed?
stay?
Yeah, yeah.
The Mughals came here to make this their homeland.
They stayed.
They did not come here to loot and
Run away.
scoot. Yeah,
Right.
like Nadir Shah stole the peacock throne. He destroyed Delhi. He massacred the citizens of Delhi and took his loot and pushed off. People don't know this.
So then history kya hai? It's about only these few people who decide what should be shown in these textbooks.
Yeah.
That's
And I mean, what is recently the theory of evolution has been knocked out out of textbooks, and then I suppose next Einstein will be knocked out of the science textbooks, and there's the head of ISRO, saying that all these scientific discoveries are there in the Vedas. All these discoveries are attributed to the West falsely. Now, what can you say to a thing like that?
To a thing like that. Naseer, because you always speak your heart out, the impression on social media when people talk about you is that you are a big rebel. Are you, firstly?
I think so.
So, like,
well, I rebelled against my father. I rebelled against my upbringing.
Right.
I rebelled against the authorities in schools, in college, in drama school, in FTI, everywhere I went. As Ram Guha, who's a good friend of mine, told me, he says, you seem to have a problem with figures of authority.
Right. So, for example, like, the new Indian Parliament was inaugurated yesterday, and, people from your industry are praising it. What would be your view? We didn't hear anything.
I have nothing to say about it. It's I think it's our supreme leader wants to build a monument to himself. This is the way he'll be remembered, by doing this. Well, the old parliament was 100 years old. Okay, and one understands that a new building was needed. But was a ceremony like this needed, where you're introducing religious aspects into everything? You come in surrounded by priests, all of whom, as if it is the King of England coming in surrounded by bishops carrying a scepter. I mean, there's got to be a limit to delusions of grandeur, And I think we're suffering because of that. It's a symbol of our democracy. I hope it manages to preserve our democracy.
Right. So your colleagues, in fact, Shah Rukh, Karan, everybody, they're praising and they made videos of it.
Yeah, let them. I mean, what can I say about it?
Right. Right. So coming back to Taj, you gave a long commitment to this. This is many episodes, a lot of shoot from what I see, a lot of costumes, quite hectic. What made you agree to do this? Because you wanted to. For us fans, it's great to see you in this role. Firstly,
well, I was hesitant initially because the image of Akbar has been so firmly entrenched because of Prithviraj Sahab.
Right.
And he was played by Sohrab Modi earlier. He was played by other actors like Rahman and Mubarak and all these. But Prithviraj Kapoor is the sort of template for Akbar.
Right.
Now, he was a massive man physically.
Yeah.
So I knew that I'm nowhere near that. And if they want me to do a part 2 of Mughal-e-Azam, I'm not doing this.
Okay.
And I think any actor who does it is doomed. But when I read the script, I realized it was nothing like that at all. And I was able to, while reading the script, to find things which I would know how to do,
Right.
Showing the frailty of the man, going into old age. It happens to everybody.
Right.
I mean, a wrestler like Gama, who was world champion before Dara Singh, died so frail that he could not even lift a lock in his hand. So that is what I found interesting to play. I found playing the younger part a little more difficult, in fact. many years ago, it would have been the opposite.
Right.
Like when I did Ghalib, I was 30, 31, and playing old was difficult.
Oh, it was different.
Now playing young is difficult.
Right.
But it was these aspects in the script.
Attracted.
And that is because the script is written by two English writers
Right.
who are not conditioned by Hindi cinema.
Hmm.
So they could take these, they could go this route.
Right. So we have a huge industry, but when it comes to stories like these, there are so many stories India has, whether it was Gandhi or whether it's this, why does it take someone from outside to come and make them?
Very good question. Why did it take an Englishman to come here and make a film on Gandhi?
Exactly. Yeah.
How come no one has made a film on Subhash Chandra Bose?
Yeah. Yet.
Sham Benegal has. Unfortunately, it's a 5-hour film which nobody's seen.
Right.
But we just, it just doesn't occur to us.
Why
why hasn't anyone even had the courage to make a film like the Pakistani film Khuda Ke Liye, which I acted in?
Yeah.
It takes guts to make a film like that in Pakistan.
Right.
Why can't we make one here? We want to be on the winning side, the film industry.
Right.
We want to be on the side of the victor, and we want to play safe, basically. Though the film Gandhi, I don't consider it a great movie, but at least it revived interest in the man.
Yes.
It was a typical Hollywood movie, clear, black and white, clear-cut villain, clear-cut hero, and hero triumphs. That he gets shot in the end adds to his tragedy. In fact, there's a fantastic cartoon by Lakshman where these two politicians, dhoti clad and Gandhi topi clad, are walking out of a movie theatre showing the film Gandhi starring Ben Kingsley.
Yeah.
And they're saying, remarkable man, this Ben Kingsley.
Lakshman the Great. Right. So, but is it made less because one, the makers have no knowledge, or there's their lack of stories, the writers are not looking into it, or there's just no demand from the people for stories like this on Akbar? And
it's difficult. Ketan made a film on Sardar Patel, which was quite good, but it didn't prove popular.
Yes.
Because Sardar Patel was a very complex person. To understand him is very difficult. He was considered rabid by some sections. He was considered devout by some sections.
Right.
Many Muslims consider him to be anti-Muslim. He was not. In fact, he was for the unity. He's the man who got the whole country together, persuading all the Maharajas and all that. But I don't suppose it makes a moving human story.
Right.
For example, not much is known about his personal life. So to make a film on somebody biopic, you need to know all these details. Pandit Nehru's personal life is a little bit under a cloud these days, and it has always been questioned. Dr. Rajendra Prasad or Dr. Radhakrishnan or Zakir Hussain, you can't make an exciting film about any of these gentlemen.
Right. And also the audience says that, we are going to the theatre to watch entertainment. We don't want to learn history in the theatre. Is that fair? Is that fair?
Mr. Satyajit Ray wrote a book about 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago, called Our Films, Their Films.
Right.
Where he compared the work we do in India with the work being done in Italy or France or Germany or Sweden. And it begins with the sentence, I wish our audiences were more discerning.
Yes. Right.
I wish our audiences were more demanding.
Demanding, right.
They're not.
The right word. Yeah, they're not.
They're easily pleased.
Right.
They're easily swayed. And so that's how it is. So they want to leave their brains behind when they go to see a movie, I guess.
Correct.
So it's understandable why, but what's not so understandable is how come these movies keep getting made when so many of them fail,
Right.
So it reflects really the filmmaker's tastes, not the audience's taste.
Not the audience's taste. So, but I have two more questions. One is that, when a film is made well, say Jodha Akbar did well and, people went and watched it. Do you think if a film is made well, people will hear and word of mouth and they will go for it?
See, made well is a very nebulous term. Made well could mean beautifully shot, beautifully edited, beautifully acted, or a story well told. coherently narrated, or it could have a message which stirs people up, like a film like Akrosh, for example,
Yeah, yeah.
which was one of the few instances I can think of a disturbing film which was also successful at box office, because it had a lot of drama in it. So, how do you define the term well-made? People imagine, and our industry imagines, that we are now world-class just because we have better cinematographers and we have more slick production values.
Right.
That doesn't make a good movie.
Right.
Where's the content, you know?
Right.
Oh, the spectacle is fine, but where is the content?
Where's the content? So lastly, talking about commercial cinema, you have also done your fair share of that. One,
Boy,
you've
yes.
done Vishwatma, Mohra, and these are films I have enjoyed.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of these movies and I watch them over and over again. Which one stays with you? That you had a good time, like I had a good time.
No, I had a good time in a film like Chamatkar, for example.
Chamatkar, right.
I had a good time in Vishwatma.
Yeah.
But that was mainly because in East Africa, which I'd never been to, and it was lovely. And I had a couple of songs which I enjoyed singing.
Right.
I didn't do too badly in those. And Rajiv, I've always liked working with, but not too many others, I have to say. A film called Bombay Boys, which was not a commercial movie, but turned out to be a very big success.
Yes.
That is one of my favorites. Masoom has definitely stayed with me.
Right.
I think it's one of the finest films made in the country.
Of course.
And I'm extremely proud to have been a part of it.
Right. And for us, it's also Sarfrosh and A Wednesday, which stays with us. So.
A Wednesday.
Yes.
Yes. Sarfarosh is very... now that's a well-made movie because it's well-made from every aspect.
Every aspect.
You know, not just... It doesn't only have shots of sunsets. Everybody says what beautiful photography.
Right. Naseer Saab, there's a reason reporters like us get excited when we are told you're giving interviews. So please do keep doing that on and off. That's a big request. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. I don't promise I'll keep doing it.